Hello, my name is Helen and I'm a member of Hope Community Church, Middleton. Thank you for clicking on this link to hear more about my story. So I grew up in Bradford with my mum, my dad and my older brother. My mum and dad are both Christian, so we went to church every Sunday. I enjoyed church. I liked the singing, seeing the people there and going to the children's classes. I learnt more about Jesus and really enjoyed listening to the stories that were told to me there from the Bible. As a child, I tried my best to be a good girl and I didn't get into trouble at school. I knew that it was important to please God and to make him happy. I continued to go to church, but I didn't come to a point where I was ready to make a commitment to following Jesus. I probably thought, well, I'm a good girl, I'm sure God will be pleased with me, and that was enough for me at the time. At the age of 18, the time came for me to go to university. I'd always wanted to become a teacher like my mum and dad, so I decided to go to a teacher training college in Cumbria. It would be my first time living away from my parents, and I was really excited. When I got there, I was really wrapped up in my new student life and going out partying at the weekend with my new friends. I'd made God and church quite far down the list at this point, and going to church was not part of my new routine. There was one girl who lived on our corridor in Halls who was a Christian, and I did make a half-hearted attempt to go and find a church with her, but I didn't feel comfortable in any of the churches that we visited, so I gave up. I would still go to church when I came home to Bradford with my parents, but probably more to make them happy at the time. I had a boyfriend during my time at university, and he wasn't a Christian, so now I was even more distracted and far away from God. When I finished university, I didn't know what to do, so I came home to live with my parents for a while. I was still going out with my boyfriend, so we said we'd try and make it work long distance. I found a teaching job, and this is when God really started to speak to me and work in my heart. I had left my friends from uni, my friends from home had moved away, and my boyfriend was miles away. I felt really low. I had been going out with my boyfriend for about 3 years at this time. However, I felt that God was telling me to end this relationship. This was really tough, but I was convinced that it was the right thing to do. My parents told me that they and other members of my family had been praying for me all this time. So I ended the relationship, and then I made positive steps to improve my life after feeling so low. I felt like a weight had been lifted, and I wanted to find a church again. I looked at different churches in Bradford, but I couldn't find one which felt right. It was then suggested to me by a member of my family that I visit City Evangelical Church in Leeds, because she knew of other people my age who had gone there. I was really interested in making new friends, so I tried this church. As soon as I walked in, I knew this was the church for me. Everyone was welcoming and the teaching was so clear. I soon made friends and began to understand the gospel in a way that I never had before. I now understood that I was a sinner, even though I thought I was a good girl, and I needed to ask God for forgiveness. I learnt that the only reason I could come to God in this way was because of Jesus dying for my sins on the cross. So I made that commitment in 2009, and God opened up my life in so many ways. I now know what my purpose in life is, and that my true focus needs to be on Jesus. Following Jesus has not made my life easy, or meant that I don't suffer trials, or that I don't have anxiety anymore. But when I go through these tough times, I know that he loves me and that I can trust him. I met my husband, Steve, at City Evangelical Church, and we got married in 2013. Steve felt that God was calling him to ministry, so he trained at the church where we met. That brings us to 2020, and we have recently moved to Middleton and are excited about starting up Hope Community Church with some other people. We would love to see many more people come to know Jesus for who he truly is. Because it says in the Bible, For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life.